oscillations. More than likely, if you are watching this video, you own a OM150 or an OM100. And I'm going to take a few minutes here to show you about the OM150, which is the newest model. Even though the OM150 and the 100 are slightly different, they are played the same. The OM150 has a few new features that the OM100 does not. Now my wife will be along in a few minutes and she'll be telling you about the OM100 and how to play it, which is played the same way as the OM150. But first I want to go over a few things here that the 150 has. And the first thing is the Chord Plus. It's called the Chord Plus. And when that is pushed, okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to play a chord, and I've got a bluegrass rhythm set, and I'm going to play the G chord. Now you can hear the bass and the drums, and your rhythm is set. But now when I push the Chord Plus, you'll also hear an added instrument. In this case, on the bluegrass rhythm, it's the banjo. Now that is one feature that the OM150 has that the OM100 does not have. A couple of other things they've changed on the 150 over the 100 is they've added some different rhythms. You'll see that there's a bluegrass rhythm and some of the other rhythms if you have a chance to compare it to the OM100. There is a few different rhythms, and there's also a few different voices or tones or sounds. On here it's noted as voices. Such as the strings, harp. Now these are voices that the OM100 does not have. Of course, it has some that's not on here. Now on every rhythm, if you add Chord Plus, you will have an added feature. Say for instance we're going to play March. You'll have your March beat, but if you wish to have a piccolo in the background, different voice while you're playing the song. Just push it. Well, I hope I've been some help to you on this OM100. But now, everything is explained to you in the manual. And one other thing I would like to mention at this time, that the OM150 has a demo song built in, and that's when the saints go marching in, and you can play along with it without changing any chord. Now that song, that built-in song, will play in every rhythm that you have here. It will stop, and then it will start with the next rhythm, and so on, as long as you leave it on. Every time you turn it off and you turn it back on, it will start at the beginning again with the march beat. There again, you can add the piccolo to it if you wished. And on page 13, when the saints go marching in, it gives you a couple of verses there, and the chord changes if you want to kind of familiarize yourself with that. But like I said, everything is explained to you in your manual, but maybe this will help you a little bit as far as understanding this part of it. So my wife will be along just in a few minutes, and she'll be telling you about the OM100, which the technique of playing is exactly the same as the OM150. We thank you very much. Have fun.
Now the first thing we want to do is turn our power on. It's going to light up all of our lights, and what we're going to do, we're going to take you through each section one at a time and show you what each thing does. Now first of all, we want to go over the bass, what they have up at the top called the chord mode. Now you'll see that you have manual chord on one side of the button, auto bass on the other. What that means is that if the light is on and I'm playing my Omnichord, I'll push the chord to show you what I mean. So I have my bass following along with me. But now if that light was turned off, I would be in manual chord, which when that is turned on, I get a steady organ sound out of it. Now I can use that sound with a hymn or a Christmas tune or something like that. You have to kind of be your own judge as to what voice or when you want to use the organ sound. And after you've played with the Omnichord for a little while, you'll soon find out what you like the best. So the difference between those then is the manual chord is your organ sound. If the light's on, it's the auto bass. Chord hold, as long as that light is on, any chord that you select, it's going to hold that chord until you change to another one. And your volume is for your bass. You can have or add as much bass to the Omnichord that you like. So that again is use your own discretion on that. Next we go to our rhythms. On our rhythms we have two lights on either side. In order to change the light, you push the button at the top. When you push it, it'll just switch from one side to the other. Meaning that if the light is over here, right now I'm in a march rhythm, or any button that I push, that's what rhythm I'm going to be in on this side. When the light's on the opposite side, I'm on swing, bossa nova, country, blues, etc. Now on your rhythms, of course, you know any rhythm can be used at any speed. So according to what song you're playing, that's how you're going to set the rhythm. So and also your volume on your rhythms here is for the drum beat. So you can have as much drums or you can tone them back. And on your sync start, you'll notice where it's lit up right here. What that's used for, if I was wanting to play a song the way I started out the tape, I was just wanting a drum beat to start me off. So if I push this, it gives me that drum roll to get me started, and I don't have to have a chord in order to start out with. And then I can just add my chord and start playing my song. So that's your sync start, your tempo, and your volume on the rhythms. Now going next to our voices are set up just like the rhythms. On your light up here, according to which side the light's on, is what voice you're in. So you have 5 voices on one side, 5 on the opposite. So again, the voices are up to you. What voice you would like to hear on the strum bar. If you would like to add a vibrato on your Omnichord, that's real pretty if you was playing a Hawaiian tune or hymn or Christmas tune, whatever. But that gives you a little different sound over here on the strum bar. And you can kind of experiment with it and see which sound you like out of different songs that you play. On your sustain, when you turn your sustain up, what that does, the more sustain I have on it, it holds my sound longer over here on the strum bar. Just lingers longer. The less sustain I have on it, kind of cuts it off. Then your volume, of course, over here on your voices is ever how loud you want your strum bar to be. So you set that where you want it to. So you have a volume on each section, then you have your master volume. You'll look over here also where it says instant off. What that does, if you're playing a song, at the end of your song, of course, you definitely wouldn't want to keep on turning your power off, because this is, especially if you have the batteries in it, it's going to run your batteries down real fast. So what you'll do is just pause the instant off, and it just saves your battery life. And then what it does, it gives you a chance to look in your songbook, find another song that you want to play without the rhythm and everything continuing. So now we've gone over what everything does, and now I want to go over the strum bar with you. Now the strum bar is any chord that I select. I have 4 octaves over here of that chord. I can get nothing else, but if I push the G chord, I can get nothing else but 4 octaves of G. So I don't want you to get mixed up thinking that you have to be in a certain spot over here. Just remembering that any chord you push, you're getting an accompaniment of that chord. And we suggest that you use 3 fingers over on the strum bar. Now, certainly you don't have to use 3 fingers all the time, but by using 3 fingers, we get a fuller sound out of it. If we use 1 finger, that's it. You know, just don't get as much sound out of it versus 3. And what we want to do too is remembering that whether I'm here or up here, it's just low and high octave. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether I'm low or high. What matters is tapping out the melody by the words and the word syllables. And Then now we're going to go to our chords. You'll see that you have a row of major chords, row of minor chords, row of seventh chords. They're all marked in little rows. So following along in your songbook, if you have, you'll look up here, you'll see that you have a C chord. That's a major chord. If you need a seventh chord, it's down on the bottom. If you need a minor chord, it's in the middle. So it's really self-explanatory if you'll take time and look at that. So also what we want to look to is in your manual, refer to your manual on page 8. You're going to see that in your manual that you can get more chords than major, minor, and seventh by pushing more than one button. So those are not hard to do. All you have to do is if you run across a chord that's written out like any of these, just push more than one button at a time. And believe me, after you get to playing with your Omnichord, you're going to want to get in those chords because they're beautiful, they're easy to get, and of course the more chords you put in a song, the better it's going to sound. So what we want to do now is we want to play a song with you. I want you to turn to page, if you have the country songbook, it's not necessary for you to have it to play along with me. But if you have the country songbook, we're going to do a little bit of You Are My Sunshine. And that's on page 92. And what I'd like to suggest to you too at this time is if you have a highlight pen, go over your chords with that highlight pen, and what it's going to do is going to cause those chords to jump out at you and make it a lot easier for you to learn the song. And so now what we're going to do, we're going to fix the settings, and I'll call the chord out to you, so in case you don't have the Omnichord songbook, country songbook, you can play along with me too. So now the first thing we want to do is we want to set it on country rhythm. Our first chord is F. So we're going to push F. I have that set on a guitar voice. And what you do is you listen to that rhythm to see if it should be faster or slower. According to my ear, that sounds like it's about the right tempo. Now remembering that if we're in F chord, we also have it on the strum bar. Now what we're going to do over here, remember, is we're tapping it out by the words and word syllables. Tap it out. B flat. F. B flat. Back to F. B flat. F. B flat. F. C7, back to F. Now we played that song. We had approximately 3 chord changes in that whole song. So that was a fairly easy song to start with. So remembering though that when you're looking in your songbook, if you don't have a recommended rhythm setting up here in the top, just switch the rhythms around till you think it sounds okay. Because there is different rhythms you can use with, you don't have to use a country or a march rhythm on every song. I mean, different rhythms sound good with other songs also. So what we want to do now is refer back to the manual, and we want to look at the demonstration song that they have on page 13, Climb Every Mountain. Now on this song, you'll notice that you have a chord for approximately every word. So when you get a song like this, you're going to have to practice it a little bit, of course. Whereas on You Are My Sunshine, you got to be able to play that within just a few minutes. But remembering that anytime that your chord, if it's got a seventh after it, you come down here on the bottom. You don't do two of them, you come right to it. If it's by itself, it's on the top. If it's got a minor after it, it's in the middle. The only time you push more than one button is if the chords are written like they are on page 8. Remember that. So if you want to go over this song a little bit, go ahead and try that. And I would use that one. I think I would take my rhythm off on it and just use it by itself with the chord. Push your chord, starting out with your C chord. And then you just start. Now see how much more fuller Climb Every Mountain was, because you used more chords with that one than you did with the song that we played before. So you're going to really enjoy playing and using more chords when you get a chance to. So now what we want to do is go to another song. We want to go over with you on the Omnichord again to make sure you understand. And we're going to play Happy Trails on page 36 if you have the country songbook and you want to follow along with me. And we're going to make our settings on here and get ready for that song. I have it set on country rhythm and have it on a guitar voice. First chord is F. Kind of hum your tune till you think you got the right tempo. Over here you're tapping it out by the words, remember. Remember that in your songbook, when you're looking in your songbook and you have the time and you want to fill it in a little bit, anytime you have the time in between your words and you want to fill it in a little bit, you can do that by either tickling it or running your arpeggio in between the words. But remembering over here that you're tapping out the melody. Happy trails to you until we meet again. And if you'll remember that, you're going to enjoy it, and have fun. Any problems or anything, always refer back to your manual. Little thing I do want to mention before we close is that if you do put batteries in the Omnichord, remember to take those things out because they will leak and damage your Omnichord. And if you have any problems with the Omnichord, you have a 1-800 toll-free number right in back of your manual should it ever need repaired. So you don't have to worry about that. So we're going to close it out. And we would like to say thank you for being with us. We hope that we've been able to help you, and happy trails to you until we meet again.